It's beautiful. But what's interesting about this song is that people will go, oh, it's got this sort of Supertramp bridge and this really hideously plastic guitar solo. It's obviously making fun of this sort of 80s stadium rock. But of course, it's really quite a sincere, sentimental love
Absolutely.
song. But I think what's interesting is when people go, oh, this is an ironic love song, I'm enjoying it ironically, what they really mean is, I'm surprised that I'm finding this is affecting me so much.
Yes.
So it's actually not ironic, it's sincere, but at the same time, there is a sort of a self-consciousness to it where you're sort of going, this is not the kind of thing that I'm used to feeling sincerely. And I think a lot of people make this notion of ironic enjoyment up to sort of compress that into a nice little concept when in fact, it's very hard to enjoy something ironically.
Well, I think the classic for me over the last couple of years was the yacht rock phenomenon.
Yeah.
And my problem with that was, as someone who's always loved Steely Dan, the Doobie Brothers, etc.
Journey,
REO
Styx.
Speedwagon, Styx.
This goes on.
That struck me as, oh, we feel like our coolness is at risk if we actually just come out and say, wow, REO Speedwagon, what a band. So let's pretend it's really funny. And I copped a lot of flack for that because everyone's like, you just can't take a joke. We really do like it. But it's like, if you do really like it, how come you didn't come out and write an essay about it? How come you didn't play that in your DJ set?
How come we didn't see you on the cruise?
Exactly. Why do you need to wear a stupid hat and have a party in its favour? Why can't you just play it? And funnily enough, nobody could really come up with an answer to that question. But
yeah, I think the same thing happens when certain alpha dog heroes get selected by the indie collective. I was mentioning to Tim before, people like David Hasselhoff, people like William Shatner is another perfect example.
There's the Hoff.
People like Neil Diamond, people in this particularly kitschy realm of music get selected by the collective, then their face appears on 300 badges on people walking around Flinders Street subway, and then people like me who've liked William Shatner since birth are then required to, take those people down a notch and say, you're not allowed to pick him up out of obscurity, make him cool in your eyes, and then you're going to drop him like the little hot potato you picked him up as, and then you're going to run off and say, Alf, yes, he's our hero now, So I just, the only thing that angers me, enjoy William Shatner, that's what he's there for. He's there to be enjoyed. My only problem is, approach it with the same level of seriousness and dedication and passion that you're going to approach anything. Don't just come at it with all your badges and hats.
To me, it's a sense again of permission, and it begins. The timeline begins, generally speaking, I find, with a cover or a collaboration with a serious artist. So
yeah, William Shatner's has been.
Well,
with
yeah,
Ben
exactly,
Folds.
with
That's
Ben
a
Folds,
perfect
or
example.
Travis, another favourite of this show apparently, covering Baby One More Time, which then allows the critics, and to a lesser extent the armchair critics, to go, wow, I had no idea Baby One More Time was a great song. Thank you, Travis, for making me aware of this.
Can I just point out to everyone who's never heard that, it is actually the worst piece of recorded music
It's
of all time.
awful.
It really, really is.
It's horrible. In fact, we tried to bring it in tonight and I didn't want to do it to you. So to hear us talk about it instead,
They
which
took
I'm
it
sure
off
you
you
love.
when you were entering the door.
They did. The sensors just went off. But that's what it is. It's like there's some inability to be able to take certain forms of music, whether it's world music, something esoteric, rap, pop, country and western, and be able to go, hey, this is really good. There are some critics who are really good at that. I think Gary Mulholland, who has written for The Times and The Guardian, and he's written 2 books, one called Fear of Music and the other one I can't remember, which is shameful since it's one of my favourite books. But both of them are, let's take a huge chunk of singles that I've bought since I was 18 and they're all on par with each other, And the bulk of it is television, that kind of stuff. But then amongst that there'll be UB40 or something else that apparently is uncool. And he treats it as you should, as good music and bad music.
As opposed to serious music and ironic enjoyment music.
Absolutely, and silly music and whatever.
But I don't sort of feel like it's an either or here, because say something like yacht rock, one thing that's grown out of that in, say, the last 2 years has been this notion of Balearic revivalism. And Balearic is a very specific term. It's sort of yacht rock mixed with dance music. So it's basically for, wealthy people dancing on yachts on ecstasy, to very, very slow, dancey, soft rock. And that's actually really works very well as this sort of revivalist genre, in the same way that Electroclash revived a lot of 80s a couple of years back. And on some level there is a sort of people being startled at what they're listening to, but at the same time there is also a genuine engagement, and it's sort of hard to work out where one starts and the other one stops. It's
Absolutely.
like not every 80s revival party, as much as it's obviously a tired thing to do now, not every 80s revival party is sneering about the 80s. A lot of it is genuine. People sometimes dress up as Cyndi Lauper because they love Cyndi Lauper rather than because they want to have a go at it.
I just think those people just don't have the same rights as someone
who's dressed up as Cyndi Lauper the whole time.
Yes, exactly. And I think those people should be just a lot less vocal and demonstrative about, their 80s parties and Cyndi Lauper or William Shatner or whatever they've chosen to appropriate. I just don't think they have the same rights as a music fan, like.
It's okay.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Kids.
That's just my point of view.